Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking K-beauty sunscreens without niacinamide. Now, anytime I do a video of niacinamide-free skincare products, I always get questions like, wait, hold up, what's wrong with niacinamide? Should I be avoiding this ingredient? Like, is it bad? And the answer there is no. Niacinamide is a goodie. I personally use it in all of my skincare products, morning and nighttime. I love it, but it is a sensitivity that some folks have. Some people just cannot tolerate niacinamide in their skincare products. And there are people out there who can tolerate niacinamide in small doses, but when it's in your cleanser, your toner, your essence, your serum, your moisturizer, and your sunscreen, that's where the irritation lies, in layering too much niacinamide onto your skin. So today I'm going to be rounding up 4 of my favorite K-beauty sunscreens that just happen to be niacinamide free. I love all 4 of these. I do think that they are suitable for most skin types because they have really pleasing, lightweight, breathable, not too dewy textures. We'll dive into the details. So hopefully there's something here for everyone. If you are so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's jump into the sunscreens. Goodal Heartleaf Calming Moisture Sunscreen. This offers SPF 50 plus PA plus 4 protection using 4 all new generation chemical filters. Now the SPF testing has yielded a result of an SPF of 59.8 and a PA of around 18.9. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, all of these sunscreens just happen to be niacinamide free, but I really love them, right? I'm not just picking them because they don't have niacinamide, and you may know that I have been raving about this sunscreen for years at this point now. It really is one of my favorites for its lightweight feel, and I often classify this as a weightless type of sunscreen. I really cannot stand heavy feeling sunscreens, especially in the summer, especially for my daily sunscreen and something that I'm going to use underneath makeup, right? And so this fits the bill perfectly. It has this really gorgeous lotion-like texture to it. They do call it a sun cream, but I just don't agree with the word cream. Cream in my mind I'm thinking something much more emollient, heavier, moisturizing, even shiny, right? And this is so much more airy and lotion-like. It applies in a really beautiful, thin but even layer on the skin. It does absorb and dry quite quickly, in my opinion, and it has a very mild dew finish to it, semi-dew finish, if you will. It's not dewy, not full on. It's not a glass skin kind of sunscreen, and it's definitely not a shiny sunscreen. There's just a little hint of a dew, but it's really not too much, in my opinion, and it's so weightless. It feels so incredible. This is a sunscreen. When I apply it, I might forget that I put it on, which may not be good for some folks who are still building that daily habit, but for me it's perfect because I don't want to be thinking about my sunscreen all day long, right? I just want to put it on, know I'm protected, and go out the door, and that's exactly what this is. It's so lightweight, so breathable, never pills. I don't detect any type of white cast or like an ashy cast on my skin. I think that it really works well underneath makeup, and because it doesn't really have like a shininess or a finish to it, I do think that it is going to work for a majority of skin types. Like if you're oily, it's not going to control your oil, but it's not going to contribute to your oil either. Combination skin, which I have, I think you're going to like it. A dry skin, which my skin can lean towards in the winter, and I've definitely used this in the colder months as well. It doesn't make your skin feel drier or tighter in any dry areas or cling to dry patches at all. I just think it's like a really, really elegant, easy, weightless type of texture. Now, this is definitely niacinamide free, but I would also like to point out that this is hyaluronic acid free. And this is another ingredient that is kind of getting overexposed. It's kind of getting added to a lot of skincare products. And again, no shade to this ingredient. I think it's fantastic, but it's not for everybody. There are sensitivities out there, and there are issues with it being in so many skincare products that the more you layer it, the more it poses an issue for some people. I'm not trying to make people get worried or like go throw out your hyaluronic acid or your niacinamide, right? It's just, this is an issue that is starting to crop up, I think, because it's just getting put into too many products. So if you're looking for that type of recommendation, this would be a good one. I also think, as I said, it will work for a majority of skin types, but I think if you're acne prone, you may also like this. It's got a very minimal ingredients list. It's not overly emollient. The Heartleaf in here is actually a really great ingredient for acne prone skin. It's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. It's quite soothing. It reduces redness. So it's just kind of like a nice little addition to this sunscreen that could make it a good choice if you're worried about, your acne prone skin and sunscreen. Purito Daily Soft Touch Sunscreen, offering SPF 50 plus PA plus 4 protection. It's a chemical sunscreen with 4 all new generation chemical filters. Purito has recently rebranded to Purito Soul. They've done a little bit of like a upgrade and a makeover on the brand. The biggest change here is that they have gone through the testing to certify this sunscreen as being water resistant. Along with the testing for water resistance, we have the results from 2 different labs for the SPF and the PA rating of the sunscreen. So they tested it in both Korea and in Italy, and the testing results an SPF of 50.2 for the Korea test, as well as 63.7 for the Italy test, and that's for the SPF rating. Now for the PA rating, in Korea, they got a 17.8, and the Italian lab got 20.8. The texture is like a sunscreen essence, right? It's hydrating and moisturizing. It's a little bit more plumping than like a lotion-like sunscreen would be, but it's not as heavy and thick as like a cream style sunscreen would be. It's somewhere in the middle. So as you apply it to your skin, it feels moist, it feels hydrating, and then as you're spreading it and working it onto your skin, you're going to notice that it starts to really set and dry and absorb onto the skin very fast. And that's good, and it's very characteristic of the water resistance in the sunscreen. That protective film and that water resistant film is forming on the skin very, very quickly and rapidly protecting your skin. So the dry and wait time on here is like almost nothing. You can really feel that it's protecting your skin immediately, and it leaves you with not a slippery, not a dewy, finish at the top, but it actually feels quite grippy on the skin, and I really don't detect any shininess with this. It's really maybe semi-matte, if you will. It really is not giving you too much of a finish on your skin, but you feel it like gripping your skin, but not weighing down on your skin. It's really, really great finish. Now, I did notice in my testing of this sunscreen, there is a little bit of a hint, like a tiny whisper of a white cast. It is a fully chemical sunscreen, but it's using Tinosorb M, which you may know has some properties like mineral filters do, and one of those is a little bit of a white cast. That means that, and I think white cast isn't even quite the right term for what Tinosorb M can do on the skin. It really, what I'm detecting, and especially, my skin, that I'm a little bit blessed with melanin, and then as you get into deeper skin tones that are more blessed, right? It's not as much of a white cast like a mineral sunscreen, but it's more of like just an ashiness. Like a little purpliness or a little blue kind of ashy tone that it can bring to deeper melanated skin tones. And I'm only noticing a tiny amount of it on my skin. A little bit more pronounced with a reapplication. I have to say, I'm just not personally super bothered by it, and it's nowhere near what a mineral sunscreen could be. You might want to seek out some creators who have reviews on this with a deeper skin tone than mine if you're trying to ensure if it's the right fit for you. If you're like my skin tone or lighter, you don't even need to worry about this, quite honestly, in my opinion. Works really beautifully underneath makeup, though. I think that kind of grippy top, I really like that for makeup because it almost like doubles in as a primer. And I'm a big fan of makeup primer, so when a sunscreen can actually take the role of that, it's pretty impressive. Now, water resistance. I do feel very comfortable sweating in this sunscreen. I do still feel protected with this. Obviously, at a certain point, you're going to have to reapply this if you're continuously or profusely sweating, but I do feel like this can hold up to sweat nicely. I don't know that I feel comfortable swimming in it, and that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, I am super diligent, about sun protection. It's kind of my job, right? So I'm very, very serious about it. So I'm very careful. But secondly, I would say that, with the water resistant testing, they don't actually release how water resistant it is. They don't give a up to rating. If you've noticed on water resistant sunscreens, they say up to 50 minutes, up to 80 minutes. I couldn't find that information in any of the marketing. It wasn't on the box. It's not on the tube about water resistant up to. So I don't actually know how water resistant it is. I get the sense that it's not going to hold up to swimming. It's going to hold up to hiking. It's going to hold up to maybe like doing maybe some sports outside. Again, profusely sweating, make sure that you're reapplying. So because the texture is so lightweight, I do think that this is going to work for a majority of skin types. I also wanted to mention, while being niacinamide free, this is another one that doesn't contain hyaluronic acid. So it might suit people with those sensitivities really well. Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun Aqua-Fresh Rice Plus B5 Sunscreen. This offers SPF 50 plus PA plus 4 protection. It's a chemical sunscreen. It uses 5 all new generation chemical filters. The testing of this sunscreen reveals the SPF to be about 57.9 and the PA rating to be about 19.3. This has a watery lotion-like texture to it. It is very refreshing and cooling when you first apply it to your skin, and it does apply in a thin and very even layer that really like sets and dries on your skin quite quickly. You can feel that it's not going to be sitting at the surface of your skin. Like, am I wiping off my sunscreen when I put my makeup on top, right? The setting time here is very short, and that's due to an ingredient called silica. Silica actually plays a couple of different roles in the function of sunscreen formulation. You may know the silica ingredient from like oil controlling powders. It is utilized quite a bit to control sebum on the skin, and it can be used in skincare products to control oil on the skin. But the way that I believe that it's been used here in the formula, the silica is really playing a role to control the finish of the sunscreen, to help cut down on a lot of emolliency and shine in the finish. It actually creates this really beautiful semi-matte finish on the skin. And I kind of call it a neutral finish. It's not adding any dew to your skin. It's not taking any dew away either. It's not really controlling the oil on your skin. It's just not contributing to it. I did not detect a white cast with this sunscreen. As you may know, this is an expansion of the Relief Sun line, and it really was developed in response to the original Beauty of Joseon sunscreen, which can cause some of that Tinosorb M induced ashiness on deeper skin tones. I do have a video about all of this, right, dedicated to this sunscreen, so you can check that out if you need to learn some more. But I did not detect a white cast with this one. I did not experience pilling with this sunscreen. I've gone through pretty extensive testing with this particular product, with makeup, with reapplying over makeup with different moisturizers. I just think that the texture performs really, really beautifully. That semi-matte finish is fantastic. So, I think, again, another sunscreen that can suit a lot of different skin types. Oily skin, I think you're going to like that it's not super duper shiny. Combination skin, I think you're going to like this as well. It's not, a weighty sunscreen. And dry skin, I don't think you have to be super duper concerned about this as far as the silica goes. I did not feel this drying my skin out or making it feel tight by any means, and I'm very sensitive to that, especially when my skin feels a little bit drier. But just know that this is not a sunscreen that's going to add moisture and emolliency into your skincare routine, and that might be something that really benefits your overall routine with dry skin. But I think that it could be a good option for many different folks. Benton Cica Gel Sunscreen. This offers SPF 50 plus PA plus 4 protection using 4 all new generation chemical filters. The sunscreen testing reveals an SPF of about 51.1 and a PA of about 16.4. This has that familiar sunscreen essence-y type of feel to it. There's a little bit of that hydration factor and a little bit of that emollient factor, but it's not a heavy sun cream. It's still a very light sunscreen texture here. So it feels really refreshing and cooling on the skin as you apply it. And then you're going to feel a little hit of moisture, but it's just not a heavy sunscreen. It actually feels really nice. And this is another sunscreen that's utilizing silica. So it has a very similar feel to the Beauty of Joseon, where you feel it actually setting on your skin a lot faster than some of the really emollient types of KBD sunscreens out there. So I really feel very protected when I use this, just because I can feel that it's setting on my skin. And that silica factor actually helps this sunscreen not migrate into my eyes. Again, some of those sunscreens that feel like they sit a little closer to the surface and feel a little shifty on the skin can kind of shift into your eyes in the middle of the afternoon. afternoon and then you're like, oh no, my sunscreen just got into my eye randomly, and then it's a mess, right? It hurts too. And so I actually didn't have any eye sting with this one. I tested this one out in the dead of winter, and where I live, we get snow. We have to shovel. It's quite an intensive manual labor process, and I am like sweating. It's a great workout when I shovel snow. So I actually tested this quite a bit in the winter when I was shoveling snow because I wanted to see how well it stood up to sweat. It's not particularly rated for sweat resistance like most KBD sunscreens aren't, right? But that silica really made it grip to my skin and stay on my skin a little bit better than the really creamy moisturizing sunscreens seem to slip all over my face as soon as I start to sweat. So this never traveled into my eyes when I was out there like hauling all that heavy snow and just like dying, right? Like sweating crazy, but it's not getting into my eyes. So this definitely passed that test. They do actually claim that that's a benefit of this sunscreen, is it doesn't sting your eyes. And I think it's purely due to the fact that it's not migrating into your eyes and causing eye sting. I did not detect a white cast when testing this sunscreen. It does actually contain, I'm just checking, it does actually contain tinosorb M, so you might want to be careful. Again, deeper skin tones, a little ashy cast that you might detect, but I personally didn't pick it up on this sunscreen. There is no fragrance in this formula, but I do have to mention that they are using some extracts that do create a little bit of a fruity floral scent as you're applying this. There's some rose water in here and a couple of like different extracts that give off a little scent, but it goes away as soon as you're done applying it. So I do have a dedicated review on this particular sunscreen if you need even more details about it, but I do think that it will suit oily skin. You know, it does have a, what did I call it, a semi-dew finish, right? That's the same term I used to describe the Goodal sunscreen. I do think that this is very similar in the finish. It's just a little bit, it's not too much. It's definitely not shiny or glass skin by any means. And I do think that the silica helps to control that quite a bit. But I don't think that this is an oil controlling sunscreen. Those could be pretty hard to find, right? But the silica I think can be beneficial for oily skin, especially in that finish. Combination skin, I think you'll like this because this is in that texture. There's a little hydration and just a kiss of moisture, but while still being really lightweight on the skin. And kind of the same thing here with dry skin folks. It may not be your favorite because it's not adding much to your skin, but the silica I personally felt didn't take anything from my skin as far as like oil and moisture goes. So it may not be a total turn off with the silica here. I think it's been used in a restrained manner. So I hope you enjoyed that roundup of niacinamide free sunscreens. I'll tell you, it took me a while to find them to round up this list. They're not easy to find. And PSA, if you're watching this in the future, before you hit purchase, please just double check quickly the ingredients list before you hit purchase, because K-beauty products do get reformulated pretty frequently, and some of my past niacinamide free recommendations actually contain niacinamide now due to reformulations. So I just want to say, if you're in the future, just double check before you hit purchase. I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful for you. If you did love the video and you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please do hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get all the great skincare content throughout the week that I post. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world. I love you so much. Thanks for being here with me today, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.